billion. My next guest introduced legislation today in the Senate that would have Congress approve the Keystone XL pipeline instead of waiting for the president to further study, evaluate, and ultimately perhaps grant a permit. Joining me now from Washington, D.C., Senator John Hoeven, Republican of North Dakota, member of the 4 Senate Committees Appropriation, Energy, Natural Resources, Agriculture, and Indian Affairs. Senator, you're a busy man, and we appreciate you being here.
Lou, good to be with you.
Let's start with your legislation to give life to the pipeline.
Right.
Senator Joe Manchin is the only Democrat to sign on with you, at least as I had heard as we went to air. Does that concern you about the chances of passage?
Well, we have 45 sponsors on the bill, just introduced it today, and we're working to get more. But, you know, this is a project that is vitally important for our country, not only in terms of creating tens of thousands of jobs, but reducing our dependence on oil from the Middle East. So we're continuing to work to build support, and I think we will.
How is it that we've gotten to this point? And by that, I'm just broadly a political statement, because the State Department says that the authority for this pipeline has to stay within the administration. The State Department itself has only the power over an international review because it is TransCanada's project. I mean, what in the world is going on? It's taken, you know, as Congressman Joe Barton said the other day, we fought and won World War II in less time than it's taken to, quote-unquote, study this pipeline.
Well, that's it. This project's been under review for over 3 years. And the president said somehow when we passed the last bill, he said he didn't have enough time to make a decision, even though it's been reviewed for 3 years. So under Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution, Congress has the authority under the Commerce Clause to approve the project. And essentially that's what our legislation does. It's time to move forward, approve the project. We need this oil. And if we don't, this oil is going to China.
You know, I haven't heard the presidential candidates for the Republican presidential nomination. I haven't heard them talking a lot about the pipeline. The issue of exploiting and producing this country's, the world's richest energy reserves, seems like it should be on the forefront of every discussion, every debate. It hasn't been. Why is that?
Well, in a number of debates, the Republican candidates have talked about it.
Well, no, I know they've talked about it, but this, it seems to me, should have been right at the forefront.
Right, and I think they should be talking about it more. Look, this is about creating jobs and doing it with private investment, not more government spending, private investment. In fact, it'll generate millions in revenues at the local, state, and federal level to help with the deficit problem. It puts people back to work. It reduces our dependence on oil from the Middle East.
You got me sold, Senator. You got me sold.
I agree. They should be talking about it. You're absolutely right. And I think that should be part of our strategy to continue to push that message, and they should be part of it.
Let's talk about a few of those candidates. Let's talk about all 4. You're not supporting Ron Paul. You're not supporting Rick Santorum. You're not supporting Newt Gingrich. How is it you chose Mitt Romney to support?
Well, I think he brings that pro-business attitude that we need in this country, that idea that private investment is what's going to get small business going across the country, get people back to work, and that we need to create the right kind of environment. I served as a governor at the same time that he did, and I believe he understands that we've got to create that legal, tax, and regulatory environment that stimulates private investment. That's how we get 13+ million people back to work, get our economy growing, and get a grip on our spending.
Let me ask you a question, because when you started talking about being pro-business, I'm sitting here kind of scratching my head. I mean, this government has bailed out the automobile industry, bailed out the banking industry, the brokerage industry, the financial system of this country. I mean, how much can we afford any more pro-business?
No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about bailouts. I'm not talking about bigger government, more taxes, more spending, more regulation. I'm talking about government creating that environment that stimulates private investment and entrepreneurship. That's what gets small business across this country going.
Senator John Hoeven, good to have you here. Good to talk with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Lou.